Welcome everyone, Canadian Silver Saver here. Today I am very excited to have John Masterson, the owner and craftsman of Beaver Bullion, join me today. Hi John, thank you for taking some time for me and my YouTube viewers. I'm really pleased to have you with us today.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, thank you. On this channel we have a real passion for silver and gold bullion in general. Everything from coins, bars, rounds, and thanks to you, what I call my Beaver Bullion puck. I do love it. It is honestly my favorite piece of silver that I own.
Oh, I'm glad. It was. I actually just poured that one a month or two ago. It was a bit of a challenge to hand pour that size. It was really cool.
Oh, I love it, and I know that there's challenges with something that large, and I feel kind of special to have it. So thank you. So on our channel, we talk a lot about, people have their reasons for their stacking and whether or not they're saving or investing. Some people have exit strategies, some do it for collecting. But what I want to know is a little bit about yourself, kind of the background of yourself, where you grew up, and, were you from a big or a small family?
I grew up in the country, about an hour outside of London, Ontario. Mid-sized family, parents, three of us kids. Growing up on the farm, and then after university, I moved to the big city because there's not a lot of jobs in the country anymore. And
yeah, no, for sure.
I became a city boy.
Mm-hmm. Do you miss the countryside?
I like going home from time to time. I do appreciate the lack of people. I find Toronto gets a bit bustly sometimes for me, but I do like all the restaurants you can get up here.
Oh, that's true. That's definitely a lot easier to go out and eat some nice food than being out in the country, for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that I think you grew up in the London area there, right? And then you're in Scarborough now?
Yeah.
And so when you were growing up, do you have what were your hobbies and interests? Like myself, I was a bit of a comic book guy. I did do some coins and that, but, what were your interests growing up?
Well, I've always collected as long as I can remember. We used to have a creek behind the house, and I remember collecting like shells and fossils down there, and I used to collect stamps. And then when I was a teenager, it was hockey cards. And
right on, yeah.
I used to dabble in like antiques and bottles. And
oh wow!
Then I kind of got into like coins and silver and that sort of thing in my early 20s, and that's been kind of my focus and passion for the last 20 years.
Wow, fantastic. That's, when you said about the creek, my kind of what got me started in it was years back. I was with my grandpa Frank, and we were out in a local area, and it was springtime, and the creek or the river was quite low, and for whatever reason, and we went out and just kind of walked in it, and I found my first silver dollar right in the creek there, or in the river, sorry. And it just reminds me of that story. And it's kind of funny how, we can relate a lot of this back to our childhood, right? And how it continues into our adulthood. So,
I got a British 3 pence, but no silver dollar.
Yeah, I was very lucky. It was pretty awesome. And I still have it today, obviously. And Frank meant a lot to me and really kind of sparked a lot of the collector side of me. And same thing for me as I got older, I kind of flipped what I was collecting into stuff that was a little bit more sustainable, right? All right, so the next thing is so I understand that you're a fantastic stay-at-home dad, if I'm correct?
Yeah, I do. My wife works during the day, so I look after the boy during the day, and then we have supper, and then I work between like 9 and ridiculously late in the morning.
Right on. So you've basically got the night shift, is what you've got. So
pretty well. I got the night shift.
No, but honestly, full respect for that. I mean, it's you're running your business, you're looking after the kids, and it's a lot to balance. And you should give yourself a lot of a pat in the back for that, for sure.
Well, it wasn't until I actually started looking after the boy full time that I realized how easy I had it when I was working. Because now I go to work and it's a relaxing break.
Nice, yeah, for sure. And what did you do before you were doing your silver products?
I used to work in the financial industry on Bay Street.
Right on. Okay, so you're
a little on the soul crushing side.
Yeah, yeah. So you got your soul back when you left, right?
Pretty well.
No disrespect to the listeners out there. We're just teasing. And you've got how many kids? One boy?
Yeah, one boy and another one on the way in a few weeks.
Congratulations on that. That's exciting.
Yeah, nerve-wracking.
Yeah, a little bit. What does your wife think about your silver business, if I may ask?
She finds it a bit strange.
Yes.
She doesn't fully understand the appeal of why people would want to hold a shiny metal bar or a shiny metal round. So she tolerates it. She puts up with it, but deep down she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand why you'd want to stack.
Yeah, and that's, we find a lot of that, and a lot of reasons why people are watching this channel and other channels about silver in what we refer to as the silver stacking community. But it's just sometimes there's a lack of understanding of the fact that you're holding money in your hand, you're holding real money in your hand.
Well, I know one of the reasons why I've always, like most people, you have money in the market, but I've always hoarded a bit of silver because I have complete faith in Bay Street and Wall Street that they'll F up the stock market every 10 years and things will crash. So it's always nice to have a little bit of something else kicking around.
For sure. Is that why you started with the kind of the junk or the constitutional silver?
Well, part of it was just kind of being a kid, and Dad would point out, "Ooh, this one's actually made of silver. This one's kind of made of silver. This one's different. They don't make that anymore." So I actually wouldn't say, I don't consider, I'm not terrified about the future, but I just like to have a little bit kind of to hedge my bets sort of thing.
For sure.
And as I said, I've always kind of put it aside, and kind of as an adult, and especially working in the financial industry, you're like, they make some risky moves sometimes. I think the stock market's going to be there for a long time, but it definitely has its ups and downs. And it's nice to park some in a different place.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't ever want to have all your eggs in one basket. That's for sure. It's good to you got to
Precisely.
yeah, for sure. Now, just to kind of lead into that, not to get too deep into it, in the last 24 hours, there seems to have been quite a kind of roller coaster ride in the bullion market in general, gold and silver, but a lot in silver recently. Brief opinion on that? What do you think? Should anybody worry, or is it just par for the course?
It's always gut wrenching. I know I bought a couple 100 ounces, a couple of dollars higher a few weeks ago, and it's always sad to see it go down. But in a few months, something else will happen somewhere in the world that will go back up again. So I don't lose a ton of sleep on it. A lot of the stuff I keep, I mean to keep it for a while.
Yeah, no, that's smart. And I mean, that's the thing is that we're not buying and investing. And so a lot of us are buying and investing silver because we enjoy it. We just like to have it. And it's a great way to have fun while, having some insurance for the future, right? But, yeah.
Yeah, no, for me, I always like to try and pick up when it's low. And when I see the price shoot up real quick, I might kind of skim off some of the stuff that I don't care about anymore because, yeah, I try to do the reverse of the panic mode.
Yeah, definitely.
I buy low, sell high.
It's funny myself, and just for any people watching out there and listening, I tend to, when this happens with the market, I tend to get excited. I tend to look at it and go, ooh, I can buy some cheap silver now and, make some money on that in the future. So I know it's incredibly undervalued, and one day this will all figure itself out. But until then, I have some fun when silver gets cheap.
Yeah, I'd love to see 2021 again Canadian.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
100%. My wife doesn't understand why I'm excited about that based on what I already have and what we spent. But at the same time, I'm like long term. This is not for the short term gain here.
Yeah.
So just to we've kind of covered that side of it and how you got started and why you how you invest and where you got your background from, and it's very interesting and quite. It's nice to see somebody who's come from the one side in the investment kind of the Wall Street side of it into the bullion market. And you said you really enjoy doing it, right? You enjoy your job now.
Yeah.
So what started your original company? Was your name John Masterson Silver?
I still actually.
Yes, and you still have that.
I have them both. Basically, the way I got started, I'd always been a junk hoarder, and I stayed away from a lot of the bullion products. Not because I didn't like them, but a lot of them were so pretty and so proof-like and so gorgeous, you can't touch them.
Yes.
And I like rolling stuff around in my fingers and kind of in my hands and kind of having a pile of it making that little clinky noise. And with like the Kooks and like the American Eagles and the Maple Leafs, you feel really bad doing that.
You do.
you wreck your premium.
That's for sure.
And a couple of years ago, I kind of ran across a stack of Monarch bars, and I don't know, I really liked them. I kind of fell in love with the poured ones.
Nice.
That's what got me into stacking pure bullion.
Nice. And so, I mean, I must say Monarch is also one of my favorite companies for poured bullion. I walk around with a Monarch poured bar in my pocket because of when I got it, and it kind of got started, me started in the bullion stacking, because they make such nice product, and exactly that reason. I didn't want to worry about, banging up my premium because of a coin. Now, of course, we still have that stuff, but I like you said, rolling around your hand, touching it, and actually my wife likes that too. So, she likes to hold the shiny metal, and when I get the big chunks of it or lots of the small stuff, I can kind of drop it in her hand, and she likes that, right? So, got to have fun while we're doing this for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So where do you get your silver from when you make your own bars? Do you do you buy larger bars? Do you buy silver shot? Kind of give me some background on how you do it.
I buy larger bars and I break them down in the shop.
Nice.
I get them from a variety of different sources. I have different people kind of looking out for me.
Yeah, you got to get the deals, right?
Yeah, like if you can get them on the secondary market, the premiums are fairly thin. Sometimes if I got a big order coming through, I got to buy them on the primary market, and they cost a smidgen more. But the big bars are usually available in one form or another.
Yeah, for sure.
And the reason I don't buy shot is I live in Canada, and technically shot is taxable with HST.
Ah, yes. So good point there for listeners, being that this is Canadian Silver Saver, and we are Canadians here. There are different rules, just like in the U.S. You guys have your own laws for the amount of silver, even being taxed on so many coins you can buy. But yeah, you do get taxed on that silver shot up here, which is kind of unusual, really.
Well, I didn't really. I even double checked with the CRA, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's not stamped with the purity. It's not blah blah blah." I'm like, okay, fine, I'll make my own. So
exactly.
I had to learn how to make my own because I didn't want to pay 13%.
Yeah, no, makes sense, right? Just basically hack some of that silver off a big bar and start from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. So Beaver Bullion. So just now that we've got your product, we know that you started with your own name, and you have both John Masterson and Beaver Bullion Silver. Why Beaver Bullion? What made you go with a new brand?
It's funny. I actually came up with that idea first.
Okay.
It was like I mentioned. I was laid off a few years ago, and I don't know. I was just kind of thinking of something to do. And I really like poured silver, and there's so many great companies in the States that were doing it, but I couldn't find anybody up here in Canada that was doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, maybe I could either look for another job in the financial industry, or I could do a bit of a career change. And so I don't know, I was trying to think of a logo and idea, and nothing was more quintessential than a beaver. And if you look at images for beavers, you got beavers are either lumberjacks or they're playing hockey.
For sure, definitely.
That seems what you have. And I'm like, well, I'm doing a career change, so maybe the beaver can do a career change too. And he's going to become a miner. And that was kind of my idea for the logo. And it took me a while to get the kind of the design made up and get the die cut. In the meantime, I kind of bought the toys for melting silver, and I wanted to melt some silver. And whereas you can buy a box of letter stamps for like $9.99, mm-hmm. And so I originally just started hand stamping Masterson one letter at a time into a bar. Wow. and selling those. And people actually liked them enough, so I got a proper stamp made up for Masterson. But the idea actually started with the Beaver Bullion. The Masterson was, I wanted something to do for 4 months while I was waiting for the stamp.
That's neat. How it's the nature of kind of the waiting game you had to play for the logo stamp to come in, right?
Yeah, it's been one of those hurry up and wait.
Yeah, it's funny too because I have your John Masterson silver product without realizing. I had no idea originally that I was really buying from the same person, right? And I've always loved it. I love the fact that no matter what it is, each item is unique. It's genuinely unique, and I know you make it with a passion for what you're doing. So when you hold that in your hand, honestly, you can feel it. And I love your Masterson product. And then I really started liking this Beaver Bullion product and buying a lot of that. And to find out it was the same person was very nice to hear. And you're doing a great job with it. And please keep continuing making those unique products like what I call the puck. It's a button, everybody, but it's a puck because we're Canadian and it's big. So it's a puck to me.
Yeah, I'd never seen a button that big before, and I was like, I want to pour one.
Right. Now, with the pouring and everything that you do you have a favorite part of the process, whether it's the pouring, the stamping, and finishing, or the melting? Is there something, to me, the pouring is very zen-like. I like to see that and do that.
I actually, like, I 100% would agree with you. I find the pouring section is, for me, very relaxing. Like, you've got, maybe I'm just being a guy here. I get to play with fire. I get to see kind of metal break down to this beautiful, shimmery, shiny pool.
Yeah.
And then you get to pour it out, and then in a half second you get to see something go from a liquid to a solid as it kind of like pulls together, and you get some cool pour lines to it. So I find, I don't know, that's the stage I like the best. Like, some of the other stages, like stamping, to a certain degree, I find stressful, because especially with the Masterson ones, because you're hitting those with a hammer six or seven times.
Yeah.
You mess up one spot, and you're like, mother blank blank blank.
Start again, melt that down.
But yeah, no, above and by far my favorite part's the pouring.
Right on. And has your wife ever done any of it?
No.
Not involved at all, eh?
No. She, it's a good thing. She was like, she found the whole concept terrifying, and she's like, if you're going to do this, you do it safe. And my father was actually also a tool and die maker. He was able to help me get everything to be safe. So I'm not like some of those people on YouTube that are doing it on their T-shirts. I do actually wear a proper leather vest, leather jerkin, face shield, because I've had a couple of molds blow up on me.
Oh, wow.
And you want to be careful. You can really hurt yourself if you're not careful.
Well, yeah, I think any molten metal, flying around would be a good idea to be protected for sure. So, I call the ones online that are just doing it in gloves and that daredevils. And respect to you guys that you're still doing a great job, but just be careful, please. When you're doing that, a lot can happen. Like John said, you can have some molten silver flying around and cause yourself a lot of damage.
Yeah, because I had it happen twice. One time it was winter and I didn't heat the mold up enough, and silver one flying everywhere, and another time there was a flaw in the mold, and it just kind of cracked on me. And so yeah, you just be careful. It's a great thing to do. Just be careful.
So now, just to we don't want to keep everybody too long here, but I'm having a great time talking to you, John. And again, thank you for being with us today. But tell me about some of the items you do offer. Are we talking just 1 and 2, maybe 3 ounce, nuggets and bars, or do you have anything else available? We know about the puck, but that's a pretty unique item.
Well, I do. I can do most things up to 10 ounces. So I do a 1, 2. I got a custom 3 ounce mold, which I really like. It's nice and big and chunky. I think you've shown one off before.
Yes, I have.
And I can also do kind of like 4 through 10 in bars. And for rounds, I do 1, 2, 5, and 10. And I've started doing some 3D shapes. I just kind of poured some of my first skulls very recently, and I'm kind of having fun playing with those. It's different techniques than just pouring a straight bar.
Yeah, definitely.
And looking at pouring some slightly different shapes for the future.
Mm-hmm. So you have a good selection of lots of different varieties and sizes. I do like the 3 ounce ones that I have, just because they're that little extra chunky. I say that a lot. Chunky silver is my favorite silver. Definitely like it when it's like that. So I've got also a 3 ounce Masterson bar of yours as well.
Yeah, I will have to say, if I'm partial to any of them, I am partial to the 3 ounce. I think it's the right size. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to sell the 5 and the 10. So my personal favorite is the 3 ounce rectangle. What
about off sizes? Do you ever sell like miss pours or things that are not the right weight, or some kind of unique bar items that you didn't do right, or do you usually melt those back down and make a new one?
I've had a few people ask, and I have toyed with the idea of putting them up, but I don't know, I'm kind of anal. I hate showing off my mistakes. I usually like to pretend like they never happened, and I throw them back into the melting pot, because people want 2 ounce. They don't want 1.997. And
for sure.
But as I said, like I have had people ask, and I have toyed with the idea of stamping up a few odd size, but I've made mistakes or ugly pours or things like that.
Sometimes the ugly pours are what people love, though. They love those unique ones, right? So,
and that's what a few people have said. They're like, come on, John, release some of your ugly ones. I'm like, they're really ugly.
You know what? I would maybe release them as your ugly line and even call it something like that. Or
call it ugly. Ugly Masterson. Ugly Masterson.
There you go. I think we got a new brand for you. Here's the thing, though, John. You're right. I mean, and everybody out there, there is a big reason why John's on the channel here and why we're talking to him. It's because not only myself, but people in the community that I know that have his product, they know that it's made with a lot of love and care. And you take a lot of pride in every bar and item that you put out there around, whatever it may be, and you can see that in the product. So it's not surprising to hear that you don't release your off pours and all that. But if you do decide to release Ugly Masterson or anything along like that, please let me know, and we'll make sure that we get the word out there and get some of that product out across the border.
I'll send you the photos first, John. I'll send you the photos first.
I appreciate that. So to get your product, where can you buy your John Masterson or Beaver Bullion products? Any online sites or places around that you can recommend?
Most of my stuff I sell through, I started off kind of an eBay seller. I've been an eBay seller for, 15 years.
Right on.
My eBay name is Monetalis.
Okay.
And so a lot of stuff gets through there. A lot of times you can actually get it cheaper through dealers because you got to pay eBay a ridiculous percentage. Mm-hmm. On my website, beaverbullion.com, I have a list of some of the dealers that carry my product. And I'm also in the process of trying to kind of make up a shopping cart and kind of have as part of that website so that people can buy the products through there. Problem is I'm really good with metals. I'm not very good with technology, so it's a slow process.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, but I'll put all those links in the comments below, everybody, or into the description below so that you're able to check out his product and purchase. So everybody, I encourage you to go out there and pick up lots of Beaver Bullion and John Masterson product. You won't regret it. You'll love it. And I think you'll become addicted to it, and it'll become a large part of your stack for sure. I really do think so. So, John, is there anything else you'd like to share about yourself or either of your John Masterson or Beaver Bullion products?
Well, I have a goal for next year. One of the things that holds a lot of people back from stamping up their own bars is just the cost of the stamps. Mm-hmm. Like getting a nice stamp made up and can easily run anywhere from like $600 to $1,000. So my goal for next year is I'm learning how to cut my own dies.
Oh, okay.
By hand. I've done my first attempt. I tried to recreate kind of an early medieval style of die making, which used a bunch of punches and stamps. And I'm creating kind of a line that looks like something a Viking would use. And that's kind of the easiest style of die making out there. And so that's kind of my project for next year. Is I want to learn how to stamp dies properly, and then next I want to learn how to engrave dies. But you did mention my father. He's the guy that's able to make me all the blanks because he's got the lathe and the milling machine. And
right on.
He can supply me things to practice on.
Well, that's a good little connection to have there, having your dad having that background for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't have been able to start this business without him. He kept me safe and kept me from killing myself.
And what's your dad's name?
Also John.
Oh, well, another shout out to John Masterson, I guess Senior in this case, for being such a great support and giving you such all the support you needed to get this going. That's fantastic to hear, John. Thank you. I think everybody, we've covered a lot with John here today. John, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Thank you. Hopefully we can have you back in the future and we can talk about some more products, and we're going to feature them on the channel and show them off throughout this video and through future videos. And guys, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Subscribing and liking really helps us to get the videos out there and this information out to the community. It's really going to help John get his product out and hopefully across the border more too. I just sent some down to my friend, the Silver Saver in US, a Beaver Bullion 1 ounce bar as a token of friendship. And if that's it, I think we'll say goodbye. John, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, and thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And guys, we'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned for my next video. And take care, everybody. Canadian Silver Saver, out.